All right, everybody, welcome back to Road America for the Frozen Rotors Winter Classic. Paul Veltum along with Doc Waldrop, Bill Strong, and Tiffany Alexander calling the race for you again this weekend. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin on board with Looney Tunes Racing, team that led earlier today, but run into some issues with that car, so they've been in and out of the pits servicing it, but it's Cone Crushers racing up front in that Porsche 944 with that beautiful blue and orange traditional livery. Crank Yankers in second.
Could you just say that again, our leader?
Our leaders is Cone Crusher.
Ah, that's what I thought.
Cone Crushers, yes. What is it with you and pylons anyway? So anyway, Cone Crushers leading, Crank Yankers in second, JSK in third. This is the team that won here yesterday. Third Gear Poles in fourth, and Ludicrous Speed back on track in P5.
Getting a report that car number 138 is stalled out, much like our broadcast.
That was good. On board with JSK, that winning Nissan Maxima yesterday.
Showing dead pedal racing, not circulating. That's our Maserati by Turbo running in 13th place.
Cone Crushers just turned a 3-minute lap. Crank Yankers a 2:55, much more respectable. JSK a 3:02. It looks like there might be a yellowed corner out there again as these cars have slowed down.
As said, we should be expecting pit stops from most of our leaders coming up. 4 hours into this 8-hour contest.
Right.
Yeah.
That
They'll
sounded
have to
really
change
good,
out.
didn't it?
It did. It was very professional of you.
Yeah, I'll have to stop that. I wouldn't want to give people the wrong impression.
Well, in Champ Car, the pit stops create a unique strategy, strategic situation for teams to work with. You can't leave a driver out there for more than 2 hours at a time without incurring a penalty. So after a minimum 1-hour break, they can get back in, but 2 hours is the maximum length of a stint. And then there's the fuel aspect. So you must remain in the pits a minimum of 5 minutes if you take fuel. However, there is no minimum pit stay for anything other than taking fuel. So you could, in theory, change drivers at the 2-hour mark and go back out immediately. But since the rules also limit the size of the fuel tanks respective of the car, most struggle to make 2 hours on a single load of fuel anyway. So what we typically see are teams trying to make 2 hours on a load of fuel before having to pit. That way they can take fuel and change drivers at the same time, being as efficient as possible, meaning in a 7 or 8 hour race like we're having here today, you're going to have to pit at least 3 times due to the stint limitation. So ideally you want to take fuel only at those times. You can make as many pit stops as you like, but obviously you want to make as few as possible.
Well, the 7-hour format, there you can play some strategy. If you go 3 hours on fuel, you can come in and do just a driver change.
Right. You can pull some tricks that way.
And then have a driver say only drive for an hour.
Car 138, sure.
It's going to be hard to get a car to go 3 hours, though.
Especially if you're racing it.
Yeah. Yeah, there might be a race going on, but you're not in it. Just for fuel conservation considerations. So our buddy Jeff Burdett's on watching us on Facebook. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing? He's working on a Fox Body Mustang, building it up for our series. Don't know when that car is going to make its debut.
Be nice to see that when that comes out.
And I'm trying to remember the name of his team is, I believe, 1080, which is police code. He's a sheriff, so it's police code for pursuit in process.
So Kahuna Miata heading out of the paddock back onto the racetrack. Also car 177 in the pits. That's third gear poles. Another team that's been racing up at the front. They're in P5 right now. Heading into the pits. Bavarian Mustache Works behind them. Clueless Racing down in 9th. Premium Dudes sort of idling just outside of the top 10 there. Having a little trouble getting that car further up. Wasted Wages in 12th. 2 minutes, 11 seconds separate P1 to P2.
Yeah, so that gap's kind of maintained itself. Crank anchors can't make up any ground, but they're not losing any ground.
This should shake it up pretty soon because we're going to have them pit. Cones haven't pitted yet, so I don't think crank anchors have either. No, so we'll see how efficiently they do that.
Right, you're going to get fresh drivers and fresh load of fuel, fresh eyes on the track. JSK seems to be kind of taking it easy through here, working their way around this Supra. I'm not sure.
I don't know if it's just the angle of the sun, but every time he goes around right corners, I could swear I see smoke in the cockpit.
Wow, he's like a whole train of cars coming into the pits now.
Yeah, well, it's about time.
Yeah.
It is that time. So it's time for those pit stops to take place. They'll pick up their timers.
I mean, JSK had worked themselves up to third place.
Yeah.
So.
With
They're
Ludicrous
definitely
right behind them.
They're not loafing around.
No, not a lot of loafing at all.
Loaf less.
Yeah.
Loaf less?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess you could say that.
Like,
I'll never live that one down, will I?
no.
Nah.
Car
Especially since
15
Ollie got
back.
blamed for it.
I do like that part. But unfortunately, we record these shows. I was busted later.
That was
after the
funny.
fact.
That was very funny. N&M Motorsports, I'm back on track and still smoking, so they'll probably have to come back in. But yeah, that whole loafing thing was great. And the owner pegged me as the guy. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
On the air, it was great. It was so funny.
Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I think it was Polly.
Yeah.
I
I was
don't
like, what?
has Race Monitor stopped?
I don't watch Race Monitor. I watch Race Hero.
Race Hero.
No, I don't believe so.
Because
It's
we
still-
just saw JSK enter the pits, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But they're not marked in the pits on
Nope,
my
not yet.
screen.
Unless
think-
they are paddock prior to the loop or something, maybe.
Yeah. What you're looking at there,
Pitted.
the design of this is that blue pit is when they pass the pit loop. That's how they
Okay.
know. And then let's say, for instance, the car stops before the pit loop.
Right.
Well, then the scoring system doesn't realize it until they haven't circulated for about 3 laps, and then they'll go pink or salmon.
Right, salmon, yeah. I
So
thought the pit
it gets-
loop was at pit end.
Oh, I believe it's at the start-finish line typically.
Okay.
But yeah,
A lot of
I don't know
times.
where it's at. You know, that'd be a long cable run at
Yeah.
Road America to make it to the tower. But
Oh, yeah.
car 662 also shown in the pits right now. So teams coming in for their pit stops. Speaking of which, we're going to take a quick pit stop here as we go to commercial break, and we'll be back as cars leave the pits and head back out for another stint of racing. Stay with us, everybody. You're watching Champ Car Live. Frozen rotors from Diversified Cryogenics deliver increased performance and a higher level of safety while significantly reducing braking system costs. Our proprietary 60-hour cryogenic process permanently and dramatically improves the usage life and stability of brake rotors, creating a distinct advantage in tensile strength, abrasive wear resistance, and rotor longevity. Frozen Rotors. It's the cost-saving solution for better braking performance.
Our market-leading product is a Novec based. It's a 3M Novec fire suppressant. And what really makes us special is the delivery system. This new 8865 3620 system puts that Novec, two separate systems, puts Novec in the cockpit, Novec in the engine bay in less than a second, immediately engulfing the area with a fire extinguishant. So by flooding the area that quickly, we're able to actually put out fires, save equipment, save our drivers. Obviously, that's the most important part.
Discovery Parts is a veteran-owned racing and safety equipment company located inside Atlanta Motorsports Park in Dawsonville, Georgia. We take pride in being a reseller of the best of the industry to Champ Car teams and drivers. We know racing, love racing, and look forward to tomorrow to even more racing. Visit us at discoveryparts.com.
Know somebody that gets hot?
Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems are designed to keep you cool and safe in hot environments. The football shirt is worn under the shoulder pads for total player comfort. For race car drivers, Cool Shirts offers a driving cooling system for virtually every racing application. The multi-person cooling system is designed to meet the demands of the firefighter in rehab. Cool Shirts offers a variety of designs for anyone who gets hot.
Cool Shirt, the worldwide leader in personal cooling systems. Race your phone and become a winner.
Champ Car Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps, a custom graphics shop that specializes in the design and production of the best quality made-to-order vehicle graphics. And by Lifeline. Lifeline uses the latest technology in motorsport fire suppression and extinguishing and is the leader of in-car fire safety systems using Novec and Triple F foam. And Willwood Disc Brakes. Willwood Engineering is a global leader and manufacturer of high-performance, original equipment disc brake solutions. And Cool Shirt Systems. Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems, vests, and garments offer comfort, safety, mobility, and durability when performance matters. And Maxxis Tires. Maxxis Tires International is committed to delivering high-performance, affordable tires to the world. And Frozen Rotors. Premium cryogenically treated brake pads and brake rotors by Diversified Cryogenics. And OMP Sport, one of the world's leading manufacturers of safety equipment and tuning accessories. And by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide, providing quality and affordable communication systems for racers and fans alike. And DiscoveryParts.com, offering the best in auto safety racing apparel. So coming up next for the Champ Car Endurance Series, we're off to Atlanta Motorsports Park next weekend for an 8 and a 7. And then it's off to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the Willwood Grand Prix, November 17th and 18th. That'll be on the Sports Car Roval. To find out more information and get signed up, go to www.ChampCar.org. And of course, there are still spots available. Welcome back, everyone, to the Frozen Rotors Grand Prix. It's the Frozen Rotors Winter Classic. We'll get it right eventually, or at least once. So welcome back, everyone. Paul Veltum along with Bill Strong, Doc Waldrop. I'm still trying to remember his name. He's new. And Tiffany Alexander. Tiffany Alexander along with us as well. Guys, thanks again so much for hanging out with us and calling the race with us. It's a pleasure and a treat to have you along. So it was Looney Tunes that led the race earlier today. They came upon hard times with mechanical issues. They've been behind the wall and in the pits multiple times to deal with that, but they're still out there turning laps. We've had a number of cars that have been off track for various reasons, some mechanical issues. For instance, Team Milan, who was looking very strong earlier in the race, Doc and Tiffany, broke a axle apparently just trying to get away from the pit in there after they picked up their clock. Ludicrous Speed was doing an amazing job chasing down the leader of the race and eventually did overtake Looney Tunes for the lead of the race. They've kind of fallen by the wayside. They've been making some unscheduled pit stops, it looks like, and that's cost them the lead of the race. So taking a look at Race Hero right now, again, you can follow along with your favorite teams at racehero.io or pick up their app in the App Store if you're an Apple user or the Google Play Store if you're an Android user. That's Cone Crushers, currently in P1 with Crank Yankers in second. You can see some of them still shown in the pits as teams are working their way through their pit stop rotation, and also they have to get back around this 4-mile racetrack before they hit the timing loop again at the start-finish line. Ludicrous Speed in third. Fourth spot, it's Bavarian Mustache Works, who just came into the pits, as I understand it. In P5, it's Third Gear Pulls, Rusty Nuts Racing, JSK Racing in seventh. That's the team that won the race yesterday here.
You know, they've been dropping pretty steadily, Paulie.
Yeah, they looked a little slow a little bit earlier, so I wonder if maybe they were having some problems with that car.
When we were at commercial break, their line briefly, we saw them hit pit row, and then their line on Race Hero turned salmon, and that was there for like 5 minutes, and then it said pit. So I don't know.
I think what might be happening is they're pitting in front of the pit loop.
Yeah.
And then they cross that pit loop. It triggers the pit loop signal in Race Hero. And then they come back around and clear it.
But, I mean, they're still dropping through the standings. They're now down in seventh.
Right, because they haven't crossed the loop yet, so it doesn't see that they're out there yet. So maybe I don't know what the science is. You might be completely thinking in the right vein, and I'm rummaging through the junk drawer here, Doc.
Several teams already pitted and are back out, and they're in the pit, so they're going to drop.
And they're still there, yeah.
The top, top 7 were all on the first, like the same lap?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
A meatball being displayed for car number 700 for a driver's window net being down.
All right, well, maybe something's going on with Race Hero because now JSK all of a sudden jumped up to 5th place.
Yeah, James Bondo having to come in for that infraction for a window net being down. That could be costly. That team.
I haven't seen Ludicrous Speed in that MR2 hit pit row yet.
Well, they were in earlier, as I remember, so they may just be off sequence.
When?
They come in early and then early.
I didn't have them coming in early.
Yeah.
Oh, at 11:49.
There we go. It's a noon.
All right. So, sorry. I had to go. That's on my sheet 1 of notes, and I'm on sheet 2.
I just had it in my brain. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
I have nothing in my brain, so y'all can accuse me of a lot of things, but never that.
I'm always amazed at the things that stick in my head and the things that don't.
Oh, I know. There's lyrics in there I don't need anymore.
All right.
Well, but you know what? Bill's
My
feeding us
parents'
information.
phone number in the 60s.
Well, we're getting information from the tower from Bill. He said they just refreshed Race Hero. So that does bring up another point, is that, we're watching the timing and scoring information third hand. It's not official by any means, and it's not infallible. So, but it's pretty accurate.
Well,
we found race after race.
Crushers out of first. They can recalibrate it as many times
do
as
whatever they want.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want to mess with your precious pick for the race.
Yeah, we won't mess with this streak.
Somebody suggested that, we each ought to, before the broadcast, call out our cars. And I think Nathan with Premium Dude suggested that. It's like, I'd crush these guys.
Probably.
Actually, back when I was calling out my race picks, I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, I was
you
going
were
to say,
having
you
trouble.
did pretty good, too, in the early years.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Before you brought all this riffraff on. And the FNG.
Yeah, and the FNG. All right, 216 out from the paddock. 216 is the Just Don't Suck Racing. Volkswagen Passat.
Oh, stop it, Bill.
Cone Crusher's now down to second as Ludicrous Speed taking over the lead of the race.
What?
Again.
Holy smokes. Dang it. It's Bill's fault.
Of course.
So, once again,
Ludicrous
James Bondo being black flagged for that window net infraction.
Ludicrous Speed, they're on a different pit strategy now, so.
They are.
Some of my boys aren't out of it, let's say.
No, not. You
That
be
should
there
equate them into
the
an
end.
extra stop towards the end of the race that Cone Crushers wouldn't have to make.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, as far as we know, Cone Crushers just has to make one more stop. Ludicrous is going to have to make 2 more.
Okay, and so this is something I didn't know about, so it's worth mentioning, which is rare on this show.
Yeah. Man, let's hang on this nugget.
I'm paying attention. I'm ready.
I'm going to say it slowly so
I'm
it lasts
sitting down.
long. All right, so one of our competitors had their window net down on a hot track while they were being towed in. That's a big no-no, apparently. You need to stay completely belted in, everything's set, your window net's up, all that jazz. Remember, you're not allowed. You're not to get out of the car unless you're told to get out of the car or you're on fire.
Yep.
Right, Doc? So
that is correct.
all that stuff needs to stay in place. You're not allowed to release any of that stuff.
I could see how you might think you would to communicate or whatever, but yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, good point.
A word to the wise.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes as far as, look, when you hit pit end, you do not release your belts.
No.
If we catch you doing that, it's going to be a very severe penalty.
Purple Haze in the pits too. JSK on board with them, the team that won yesterday in P5. They've passed 30 cars to get into the position where they're at right now. That is car number 176, a Nissan Maxima. Black car.
Well, I've stepped on at least 30 people to get to the position I'm in.
Cone Crushers back in P2, about 20 seconds back from Ludicrous Speed.
Oh, that's piece of cake.
We'll watch the lap times as they cycle through and see where they're at. But, of course, these drivers just getting in the car. They need to get up to speed and get acclimated and find their rhythm. And with JSK back at 5, Crank Anchors still up in the top 3. Another good race day.
Well,
it is, and this is pretty much where he was yesterday.
Tyler will be down at AMP this coming weekend.
Well, I know he's going to Sebring too. He's excited about that.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me that.
I don't know if he's ever been to Sebring.
He's making the big toe.
Been to AMP for that matter.
Yeah, I spoke with Tyler during our exclusive interview.
Yes.
The Champ Car Jive, which you can pick up that interview on our YouTube channel, ChampCar.live, and see that interview in its entirety.
But yeah, Rodney Earwood's going to pick him up at the airport on Thursday. There's talk of margaritas on Thursday night.
Oh yeah.
If you're familiar at all with the board, that is the beverage of choice. Seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my beverage of choice too, and I'm not on the board at all. I'm just there for support.
Come to Birmingham. You'll there's a place called Taco Mama. I don't know if y'all have that anywhere else.
I have been to that Taco Mama.
They have
we don't have that
18
here.
different flavors of margaritas.
I only need one flavor.
Yeah, I only need one too. But at least they don't discriminate. They've got plenty of flavors to choose from.
I have been there.
It's good.
I see. I used to do a lot of shows in Birmingham for Alabama Power.
Right.
So, and I have relatives all over that place.
And you claim them. That's amazing.
Yes, I don't see them very often, so that makes that easier.
Yeah.
So you're well represented then.
Yeah, most of them are centered around the Trustville area.
Oh, yeah. That's not far from me at all.
It's fairly close to the track, yeah.
Yeah.
So James Bondo finally in the pits for that infraction of riding around without the window net pinned. The 241, 4 wheels off and back on. That's the Low Farm Racing in their E46 that they brought out here this weekend. So some of the big teams out here this weekend positions. We've got Ludicrous Speed leading the race with Cone Crushers in second, almost 50 seconds back. Crank Anchors in third. Bavarian Mustache Works in fourth. JSK in fifth. Rusty Nuts in sixth. Premium Dudes in eighth. We've got British American Racing by Hawk in 10th. Crash Management in 12th. And the... sorry, I gotta get this... ErgoLab.com in 13th.
All right, Jerry.
Yeah, he's in a respectable position there. Bringing that car up inside the top 15. Not an easy thing to do on such a field that's stacked like this. Over 60 teams started the race today. We've got about 60 teams coming out to Atlanta Motorsports Park next weekend, where Doc is going to be there with his with the Brew Crew Racing team and his Kenny, the Brew Crew Racing machine.
They're actually going to let me drive too.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I've only done one stint. That was at Charlotte. So
you need to get back
my
out
plan
there.
is to do the third stint on Saturday, Paulie, so I can help launch the show and stick around for quite a while, and then come back for the finish. And then on Sunday, I'm going to do the second stint. So I'll be able to launch the broadcast and then quickly slip away and go do some driving, because I am probably terribly rusty. I'll probably be the slowest car out there.
Well, you won't be the slowest guy out there. You'll do great, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun. My best wishes to you, my friend.
Yeah, have a good time.
I hope I just don't let the team down.
Oh, you won't. Smoker into turn 12. Car 43 spun backwards. Track looks okay. And that's a concern, of course, of oil being laid down. We had an issue with that earlier today, where they had to take the track to red so they could clean up the track. There were a number of areas. Man, these lips just aren't working today.
Yeah.
A number of areas that were oiled down, so they had to get that cleaned up to make it safe for everybody to get them back out there. But we're on board with JSK. We'll take a peek here at Looney Tunes, see what they're up to. Looks like they are behind the wall. Taking another look at that Mustang, trying to get it sorted out. And again, they were leading early this morning in fine form, but yeah, it was ludicrous speed coming up from behind, and yeah, kind of had some thoughts yesterday about them. I think I mentioned something about it being strong today because of their, yesterday it was all sort of masked by all the wet weather we had yesterday. Not a hint of that in the skies today, though. It's been sunny and dry, and these cars that enjoy those dry conditions are really shining out here today. Ludicrous Speed on top, Cone Crushers in second, Crank Yankers in third spot.
It's a completely different race today than it was yesterday. Cars who's got the benefit. That one's smoking ahead. It's a beautiful day, whether yesterday was very challenging for everyone.
Yep, it certainly was. And just as a reminder to all of the teams, if you're watching and going to be at Atlanta Motorsports Park with us in 1 week, and I mean, why wouldn't you want to be there? Make sure that you check your pit lane fire extinguishers and your drain pans. Make sure those fire extinguishers are fully charged. You've got the proper 10-pound bottles. All of that is required in order for you to refuel your car, and that would be embarrassing if your driver comes in and you can't fuel the car because you don't have what you need. So make sure you check those dials.
So we got a report from race control that the 400 is being towed in on pit lane. The car tried to stop it pit in, and the tow truck pulled the bumper off.
Yeah, they're not. Timer.
Yeah, they were, but they're not allowed. The tow trucks are not allowed to stop at pit in for safety reasons. So they continued to go, and the driver tried to stop the car, and he did stop the car. Unfortunately, the front end of his car didn't stop.
Well, at least he didn't break the tow strap.
No, the tow strap was not broken in that.
Just the front bumper.
Just the front bumper, and that's
just adding lightness.
I'm pretty certain it was because he didn't have his number correctly printed onto the numbers panel. It's actually printed on the door.
Right.
But yeah, that whole front end of that car is messed up. You might be able to see it on one of the cameras there, the tower cams.
Well, I guess that's lesson learned.
Car off to the right there with the tow truck. Looked like a skid truck.
I know. Some of you guys are more experienced with being towed in than others, and some of us drive cars that don't need towed in.
Watch it.
Watch it, Polly.
Hey, y'all, if I'm ever on the racetrack and my car breaks, Bill, if you're up there, send the truck out, like, pull me in on a rollback, like, don't flat tow me in. I don't want to embarrass myself.
If only we had that option.
Just don't even bother flat towing me.
When you register for the race, it says flat tow or tow truck.
Right. It's
known
like
to
when
break straps.
Like, what flavor of mouthwash do you want at the dentist?
Most of those guys will charge you for those.
My bumper up there, and you're here.
They just laugh at me and point.
Yeah, we hook up our tow strap to the bumper with my 2500, put the brakes on, and pull it a few times just to make sure it doesn't pull stuff off the car.
Right.
I would rather have it happen at home than at the track because it's embarrassing. Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't say much for your car.
Bill, can you tell who's at pit end being flat towed? Who's being put on the rollback? It's
the number 400. It's an orange Mustang.
Okay. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
They're trying to reattach his bumper.
Well, now they had to get the big hooks out.
Grab it behind the fender ears and pull it.
They're probably just going to loop it through the A pillars.
What they ought to do is just loop.
This will fix you.
hook it to the back bumper and make it a matching set.
What?
That'd be weird.
You got that, Kurt?
Okay, I'm not going to say that's funny.
No, that's not.
It is funny because,
But it's not.
yeah, it's not. Yeah.
JSK has dropped a spot.
It's funny if it happens to somebody else.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Funny until it happens to you. They're not so funny.
We've got a couple EC cars in the top 10, guys.
Yeah.
9th spot and 6th spot.
And not near as many A and B class cars as yesterday.
Right. They were really
Which only
representing
stands to
yesterday.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Stinky Rat Trap just turns their fastest lap time of the race, 2:54.
Only one A car, A-class car in 7th place. That's third gear pulls. And 13th through 15th is all B-class cars. And I think B is probably, that'd be a toss-up between B and D, which cars have the fewest numbers in Champ Car. It's not a lot of stuff falls into the B range. The Rotaries do. Some of the Hondas, some of the Miatas, the swapped ones.
Yeah, the Ecotech engines, some of those do, though. That's where the Ergo Lab and Team Milan were running in that B class now. He's running that 2.4. I'm thinking that's a C class engine. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but yeah, you're right. There aren't a lot of B class cars. That's the one that it's kind of an odd engine size to fall in there.
Right.
Sterry Motorsports and their Toyota there in the B class. TPS Motorsports, they're in B class. F-Bar Racing along with Noble Gas Racing in there. Neon there in B class. So,
well, there has
like
been
1.9 to 2.4 or something later.
Yeah, it's something
sounds
like
about
that.
right. Because I know that we've got some BMWs, Doc, that get into the 2.4, don't we?
Yeah, probably so. Some of the 318s, I would think.
Okay, yeah.
There has been some talk. It's not gotten anywhere yet, other than, here's something to think about, is changing our classing system onto the point system.
Okay.
But that'd be a major shakeup in our structure. So if that eventually comes, I could see it coming well down the road. Because things are working out pretty well right now, I think, with the VPI numbers and that. I mean, it's a lot of these cars are pretty evenly matched. We're doing the best we can with those numbers. I know the technical advisory committee's been working with them, along with Tyler, Rich, and Jay. So to change to from the displacement classing system to the VPI classing systems would really require a lot of research and a lot of thought. It might be a better way, but if the current way, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I was going to say, as long as I get to go racing, I'm really not too worried about that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, a lot of series have problems filling out their classes. There may be one or two cars racing in class. Well, and we don't seem to have that problem. EC would be the closest thing we have to a quote-unquote problem, but they're running outside our rules anyway.
Right. They're not eligible for the overall win, so
right.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Now these big horsepower tracks like Road America here tend to gather more EC cars. Daytona usually has quite a few EC cars. Charlotte maybe. The Roval out in California, although I don't know how healthy the EC class is out there. So, there's not a whole lot of reason to change it at the moment. What we have seems to be everybody's fairly happy with it. I mean, no racer's ever completely happy. We all know this. All right, I got to stick my head in my iPad here and do my lap charts.
So beautiful skies out here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for the Frozen Rotors Winter Classic. We're going to step away for a break, and we'll be right back with more racing action here on Champ Car Live. Don't go away. Frozen rotors from Diversified Cryogenics deliver increased performance and a higher level of safety while significantly reducing braking system costs. Our proprietary 60-hour cryogenic process permanently and dramatically improves the usage life and stability of brake rotors, creating a distinct advantage in tensile strength, abrasive wear resistance, and rotor longevity. Frozen rotors, it's the cost-saving solution for better braking performance.
Our market-leading product is a Novec based. It's a 3M Novec fire suppressant. And what really makes us special is the delivery system. This new 8865 3620 system puts that Novec, two separate systems, puts Novec in the cockpit, Novec in the engine bay in less than a second, immediately engulfing the area with a fire extinguishant. So by flooding the area that quickly, we're able to actually put out fires, save equipment, save our drivers. Obviously, that's the most important part.
Discovery Parts is a veteran-owned racing and safety equipment company located inside Atlanta Motorsports Park in Dawsonville, Georgia. We take pride in being a reseller of the best of the industry to Champ Car teams and drivers. We know racing, love racing, and look forward to tomorrow to even more racing. Visit us at discoveryparts.com.
Somebody that gets hot?
Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems are designed to keep you cool and safe in hot environments. The football shirt is worn under the shoulder pads for total player comfort. For race car drivers, Cool Shirts offers a driving cooling system for virtually every racing application. The multi-person cooling system is designed to meet the demands of the firefighter in rehab. Cool Shirts offers a variety of designs for anyone who gets hot.
Cool Shirt, the worldwide leader in personal cooling systems. Race your phone and become a winner.
Champ Car Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps, a custom graphics shop that specializes in the design and production of the best quality made-to-order vehicle graphics. And by Lifeline. Lifeline uses the latest technology in motorsport fire suppression and extinguishing and is the leader of in-car fire safety systems using Novec and Triple F foam. And Willwood Disc Brakes. Willwood Engineering is a global leader and manufacturer of high-performance, original equipment disc brake solutions. And Cool Shirt Systems. Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems, vests, and garments offer comfort, safety, mobility, and durability when performance matters. And Maxxis Tires. Maxxis Tires International is committed to delivering high-performance, affordable tires to the world. And Frozen Rotors. Premium cryogenically treated brake pads and brake rotors by Diversified Cryogenics. And OMP Sport, one of the world's leading manufacturers of safety equipment and tuning accessories. And by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide, providing quality and affordable communication systems for racers and fans alike. And DiscoveryParts.com, offering the best in auto safety racing apparel. So coming up next for the Champ Car Endurance Series, we're off to Atlanta Motorsports Park next weekend for an 8 and a 7. And then it's off to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the Willwood Grand Prix, November 17th and 18th. That'll be on the Sports Car Roval. To find out more information and get signed up, go to www.ChampCar.org. Welcome back, everyone, by the way, to Road America on Champ Car Live, the Frozen Rotors Winter Classic for the Champ Car Endurance Series, presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. Paul Veltzum, Bill Strong, Doc Waldrop, and Tiffany Alexander with you, calling the race all weekend long. Let's see here. We've got a message here coming from the tower in turn 10A. Traffic cones have been hit. Rescue and safety looking for Doc Waldrop.
I was never there.
I don't know why your name always comes up when there's issues like that.
No idea. It's lies, slander, delusions, and half-truths. I am going to disappear for a few minutes, Paulie.
All right.
I'm going to grab something to eat.
I wish you would.
I am starved. And then you should probably go eat something too, and Tiffany as well.
I snuck something while we were working there, but
really?
Thank you.
Oh,
yep.
Man.
That's what the commercials are for.
Yeah. if those commercials don't last that long. If
they
he got
don't.
something to eat, he must have inhaled it. All right, I'll be back shortly.
All right.
Okay.
I think I ate while Bill was talking about an MR2 or something, which is always going to give you lots of time.
That could take for hours. You could
So
have a 5-course meal.
I had plenty of time.
Bye.
All right, Doc.
I didn't get the headphones off quick enough.
Car 212 being reported as being finished with their pit stop, and the 107, which is the no brakes racing, headed into the pits. 212, the Dirt E30 team that was stuck reportedly stuck in the grass. Jeez, I'm just getting ahead of myself here, Tiff.
Yeah.
Well, in 2019, yeah, the Dirt E30. Got to space it out so I get it right and don't run it all together.
I was going to run it all together, just like they call them Dirty 30.
Sure. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Well, in 2019, the Champ Car Endurance Series will make history once again, as Champ Car will debut at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Champ Car will make history at the Speedway with the longest running race ever held at the Brickyard. And we're going to do it twice. Champ Car will have 2 10-hour races that weekend. So if you join us, your team will have more track time in a single day's event than any event ever in the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the second oldest racetrack in the world. Registration opens November 1st at midnight.
And that one's going to fill up very quickly.
Team James Bondo spotted moving slowly at turn 4 in that TR7. On board with JSK Racing, finished the race with a win yesterday. Now up into P4 behind Crank Yankers Racing, who was out yesterday about mid-race after impact with the wall did quite a bit of damage to that BMW E30. Cone Crushers in P2 behind Ludicrous Speed in their MR2, which we believe will have to pit off sequence. Will have to take an additional pit stop beyond what Cone Crushers will, which will bring them right into, well, the sweet spot of winning this race potentially. And then behind all of that drama is Crank Yankers just putting in a good race. So hard to say who's going to win this race yet, but Crank Yankers turning a 2:55 that last lap through. Cone Crushers a 3:06. Ludicrous Speed with a 2:48. Hustling that little MR2 around the track.
And JSK is threatening in fourth. You know, they won this race yesterday, so, you know, they're coming back trying to get it again.
Right, and as we know, Ludicrous Speed is off sequence. What does that mean for JSK, Crank Yankers, and Cone Crushers? If they can maintain a normal pit stop cycle and not have to pit additionally more than once, then, well, each of them have a good chance of winning this race. Bavarian Mustache Works back in 5th spot. Premium Dudes in 6th. In 7th spot, Third Gear Pulls. Clueless Racing in 8th. Stinky Rat Trap in 9th. 10th spot, British American Racing by Hawk. With Ludicrous Speed, your top C-Class car, and the overall leader, Third Gear Pulls, your top A-Class team. Clueless Racing leading EC, with Ergolab leading B-Class. And your D-Class leader, Dirt Guys, the number 999.
You think those guys have some dirt track racing experience?
Could be.
That's what that name would lend to my thoughts.
Rusty Nuts Racing currently shown in the pits in their EC car. They go into the pits in P12 right now. Your fastest lap time of the day so far turned by the leading car, the MR2 of Ludicrous Speed, with that 2:45.586. That is a stout lap time, man. There's a lot of teams that are struggling to make that lap 10 seconds slower.
Right. I mean, Ludicrous Speed is Ludicrous Speed. I mean,
yeah. It's
maybe
ludicrous.
It's ludicrous. Maybe that's why they have to, you know, pit extra, because they're using so much gas, you know.
Right. There's a penalty to be paid for going that quick.
Yeah.
James Bondo still shown in the pits in that 700 car. Some of the other teams that finished well yesterday, like Landshark down in 48th spot. Spartan Racing. Wow, these guys, I think they finished second yesterday. Spartan Racing down in 53rd. Still shown in the pits. Looney Tunes that led the race earlier today down in 47th spot. Behind the wall right now, working on that Mustang. Team Milan, boy, this is a weekend they'll be glad to forget. Back in 66th with driveline issues with that car.
Yeah, they really struggled with that one. They were doing great, and disaster strikes.
So a little bit more cloud cover moving in. The sun beginning to hide just a bit. So you can see one of the cars in the pits there being serviced. An epic racetrack for sure out here at Road America. This 4 mile, just a little over 4 miles in length, 14 turns. There you see the front straightaway there at the base of the screen there, and the direction of the racing direction heading down into turn 1 there.
It's a pretty long front straightaway, right? I mean,
yeah, it really is.
Pretty high speeds.
Well, my dad's often said, if you want to find out how fast your car can go, bring it here, and you'll find out.
Just a really fast course.
Yeah. I think I had a relatively accurate speedometer in one of the Miatas I was racing here, and I was doing 119 at the going into turn 1 into the braking zone. I didn't even know
those could go that fast.
Well, it does get a little light and skitterish without any aero, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And it had some of the other drivers a little unnerved because it was a little bit unsettling. The back end begins to float a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
Down into the kink here that we use, which is the motorcycle course to slow the cars down so they don't go into the kink at full speed. Now heading into Kettle Bottoms here. This is the low part of the racetrack, but still very quick through here. A bit tricky because it keeps turning. And you go into the braking zone here, and you're traveling at a high rate of speed into turn 3. This is the famous Canada corner. You begin your climb up to turn 13 here. Using all the racetrack, it should track all the way out to the right and just clip the rumble strips. Braking hard for turn 14, the final corner. At the exit, rumble strips, very aggressive on the left side there. Try to stay off of those. And then it's up the hill you go. And then to the start-finish line. The pits are just off to the right there, over the wall. There's the Sunoco sign. Downshift turn in, about 75 miles an hour through turn 1. Under the Briggs and Stratton sign, through 2, into 3. Downhill braking zone, actually pretty steep through here. It's not very well represented in the camera angle. Now onto the back stretch. Great place to check your gauges right here and check your harness straps. Turn 4 is the flag stand just to the left there. Track begins to turn and drop dramatically into the braking zone here. Track kicks a little to the left there as you head into one of the slowest parts of the racetrack, turn 5. And then it's up the steep hill to the Corvette Bridge, a blind braking left-hander. And then it's the setup, if you can get it just right, flat on it through here. Eating a little bit of curb on both sides to take you through hurry downs. Another steep descent braking around the 2-panel. For a pretty traditional left-hander, you pick up a little bit of grip there from the compression. And then it's under the Speedville Bridge for the sweeper to the right. As part of the racetrack, a 4th gear turn. Typically pretty hard on that left front tire, a lot of scrub. Accelerate out as you make the apex, and then hard braking for another slow part of the track again. This is the bus stop again. And back into Kettle Bottoms. And that's a lap around Road America. 4.087 miles in distance.
Looks like a really fun lap.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy that's driving in the JSK car, we were talking about being smooth earlier. You can watch his hands, or his inputs are really smooth. His shifting is really smooth.
Yeah, he definitely seems to know exactly where he wants to put the car. And like you said, he's very deliberate. And
right.
Tiffany, isn't it true some of that comes with just keeping your mind ahead of where you're at all the time? There's no indecision. You know what you're going to do as you get there.
Right. You already know before you get there, a little bit.
You already know before you get there what you're going to do. And you're
already looking at the exit of the turn as you're entering the turn, if it's not blind.
We've heard that phrase about hitting your marks, and I know I've used that phrase, but what's the definition of that? How would you explain that to somebody, hitting your marks?
Your marks would be your, like after you drive a track, you kind of set up what you think you can do and what's right. But I mean, like your brake marker, not braking too early, your turn in, your apex, your track out, where you want to be full throttle, that sort of thing. If you hit those marks, I would say that would be your marks.
Okay. So in other words, you're having braking points on the racetrack, turn-in points, where you want the car to exit, and that would feed into that whole consistency thing that you were talking about earlier.
Right.
So if you have marks where you're going to be turning, braking, and all of this, then that means you're going to find your lap times to be more consistent than if it's
right.
you're sort of hunting for what you want to do at every corner.
Right. And if you are hitting marks consistently, then you can kind of play with things. Like if you're going to brake a little bit later and carry that through, or turn in a little later and see how that does with the car. You can start playing with things, and what's going to happen as you change those marks around. But hitting marks every time would be consistency. Yeah.
Right, so you're saying if I'm hitting my marks consistently and there's a turn that I want to work on, I can watch, say, in car, I could watch my my deltas, I can watch my sector times and see, okay, well, that helped my lap time or that didn't help my lap time.
Right. And like the aim solo is one of my favorite tools. And you can put it on predictive timing, and then you can kind of go through a turn and see if that was, faster or slower, because it'll tell you, like, after you finish that turn, it'll tell you that, your time is lower, given that the rest of your lap is the same. And you can kind of see right there if that worked or not.
So the predictive timing, how does that, what is predictive timing?
So the Solo is a lap timer, a GPS lap timer. And so it's telling, it just pops up your lap each time you come around. So you kind of know, it helps with that consistency. And like we've talked about before, when, teams kind of set that time that they want to maintain, that's, it's quick, but it's not so quick that it's going to run the car to the ground before the end of the race. It's like endurance speed. And so you can kind of stay on that. You can also change it to predictive timing. So as you're driving differently, either you get caught in traffic or you take a turn faster, your lap time, your predictive lap time, what it's expecting you to get will change. And that'll let you know whether you've lost time or gained time in this lap coming, the one you're on that you haven't logged yet.
So that means they have typically a predictive best lap time. So in other words, they're looking at each of your sector times and they're saying, okay, well, if you put together your best lap based upon all of your best sector times, okay, this would be the lap time that we would predict that you would hit.
That's my understanding.
And they use that same type of predictive lap timing in iRacing too. So it's nice to have something to kind of get used to using that method to cleaning up, giving you that consistency that you were talking about earlier, Tiffany, because you're kind of in that rhythm of keeping an eye and challenging yourself to stay on time and not lose time.
Right, and this is all about rhythm, getting into the zone. I use that term a lot, and a lot of other people do, just getting into that headspace, and getting in the zone, and then getting that rhythm down, getting the rhythm with the car, with the course. A lot of these courses, a lot of the turns link together. So that rhythm where you're, turning in and exiting each turn to set up best for the next turn, kind of like with pool, you're planning your next move based on your exiting of the first one, and to get it to link all together nice and smoothly.
Right. And as you were just going through explaining that, you did an excellent job of explaining it. Thank you for doing that. Expertly explained. Ludicrous Speed just came out of the pits, so they went through another pit stop here.
Wow.
At 1:30. It seems like they're pitting almost every hour.
Yeah, like an hour 20 or something.
So
I wonder if that's a fuel issue. I mean,
I think the gas tanks on those MR2s are about the size of a thimble.
Yeah.
So They have to come in and get fuel a lot.
Those data timers also allow you to, like after a race or a track day, you can plug them in and you can look at your laps and kind of lay them on top of each other and see where your the speed of the car was in different sections of the racetrack too. And I was really surprised when I looked at Barber and I was comparing, and we've always talked about like the hairpin being the slowest turn there, and I was actually several miles per hour faster in the hairpin versus the bottom of the corkscrew. So I just used that data to try to kind of play with things and see if I could get that time up a little bit there.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you're able to do with that then. That's great.
I mean, it obviously gives you way more data than I could ever like comprehend, but the little bit I do, I try to put it to use.
Sure. So Ludicrous Speed falls to second, and there's some other team I haven't heard of before. It's in first. What's that, Doc?
That'd be the Cone Crushers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ludicrous just came in for their pit stop. We know they're off cycle.
Like every hour.
Yep. Yep, they came in and they just left the pits a minute ago. We happened to be on the pit out cam and saw them leave.
So they're going to have to pit one more time.
Yeah.
26. Wait, is that right? Let's think about this. 30 now.
If they put in now, a 2 hour would be 3:30. Yeah, so they won't be able to finish.
They're going to have to pit one more time, as his Cone Crushers.
Yeah, at least one more time. Yep. Ludicrous Speed back out on the racetrack. Trying to stay in touch with Cone Crushers to capture the win. They've got a lot to do. If they win this race, it'll be a well-fought, well-earned one, that's for sure. Cranky Acres Racing kind of sitting back and just watching all this happen back there in third spot. On board with JSK, they're not messing around. They're back and forth trying to get around Cranky Anchors. Just turned a 251 to Cranky Anchors 255. Back about a lap. And there's 3 hours of racing left here, so we could see some more changes up here in the top 5. Bavarian Mustache Works in 5th. And lo and behold, there's Premium Dudes working their way up through the running as well in 6th. Ergo Lab now takes another position for 12th, turning in their fastest lap time so far in that Mazda Miata 253. And then they just turn a 255 to back that up, so trying to work their way up the field.
Yeah, it's good to see Jerry running with no problems today.
Yep, leading B-class car and up to 12th. And a respectable lap time there, that 255 and 253. Good lap times out of that Miata. The old Mustang just up ahead, heading down through 2 into turn 3 here. I like JSK's line, just kind of mid-tracking it on the way in. In that Nissan Maxima. Car that won here yesterday. Tiffany and I were just watching the driver work their way through some of the more twisty, slower parts of the racetrack. Tiffany commenting that how smooth he was working his way around the track, and she'd like to see that. Down into turn 5. Easy. Nice pass going up under the Corvette bridge for turn 6. Good observation spot just off to the left there as it goes by the James Bondo number 700 TR7 down into turn 8 into the braking zone. Off into the rumble strips. You can see how aggressive they are over there. It really unsettles the car. We've heard reports of some of the cars losing control as a result of that unsettling The rumble strips around here at Road America are very aggressive.
So Ludacris is 1 minute 19 seconds back. So they got their work cut out for them.
Cone Crusher, such a tough team. They sort of emerged here a few years ago at NCM Motorsports Park as a front-running team suddenly. Seemed to come out of nowhere, and ever since then, boy, they've just been a tear out there on the racetrack. Always a tough team to contend with. Reliable Porsche 944, and just an all-around good race car with a good race team.
Yep.
My buddy Tyler here, the owner-operator of the Crank Yankers racing team, in third spot. We've had a number of cars that are back in the pits right now working on their cars. Team Looney Tunes with their Ford Mustang. Team Milan with their Mazda Miata. The TRM guys, TRM Motorsports, additional contact on the front of that car. Similar to what the issue they had yesterday with front-end contact. We talked earlier about some of the other teams that had done better yesterday, far better than today, just not having a good day at all. Yesterday it started out Looney Tunes once again taking the lead, and then the rain came upon us. Motorcrap was right up towards the front there. It found themselves stuck in the gravel. Premium Dudes was black flagged around 11:30 due to passing under yellow. Crank Yankers hit the wall around 12:15, putting their car in the paddock for the rest of the day. Then the snow began to come heavily at 12:45, actually began to affect visibility. It was so heavy. And the number 318, looks like they were into the wall around 2:30. Ergo Lab just in and out of the pits all day yesterday. A real disappointment for them. Black flagged again was Premium Dudes for a questionable pass. Looney Tunes was back out onto the racetrack around 3:15 after having replaced the engine due to a dropped valve. The finishing order was JSK Racing, Spartan Racing, Premium Dudes, Landshark, Ludicrous Speed, Stinky Rat Trap, Two Brothers Racing, and 11th and 8th spot would have been Dirty Guys. So 7th and 8th rather was Two Brothers Racing, who hit, they took B class, and then Dirty Guys took D class.
So Ludacris cut into Cone Crusher's lead by about 4 seconds that last lap.
Yeah, when Bill talked to them in the pits yesterday, and again they finished 5th overall, Bill asked the question, what are you guys going to do yet tomorrow differently than you did today to catch up with these guys? And he said, well, we're going to change tires and we're going to change our driver's lineup. So they had a plan for today to make the car better.
You know, here's another little note there. Crank Yankers, we were just talking about them. They're on the same lap as Cone Crushers and Ludicrous Speed, and they just turned a 257 versus a 301 and a 304. They're about 34 and a half seconds behind Ludicrous Speed. JSK Racing is also on the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe some of these guys are seeing a local yellow, and it's always kind of, it's a little arbitrary. You don't know how much to slow when you see a yellow. You know you're supposed to slow. And I think some guys just naturally slow more than others. And when I'm seeing these, a 304 from the leader, there's a 257, a 301. These are slower times than what they've been turning.
Right.
Now, that 257 is a little more in line with what Cone Crushers has been doing, but still a little bit off the pace. But,
And then now Cutting Crushers did 257. So maybe whatever it was is cleared up.
Sure.
They seem to be getting things cleared up pretty quickly here at this course. They've only had one full course caution all weekend long.
Yeah, of course, we went to Red Flag, brought everybody in to clean up the racetrack.
That one, yeah.
Which was due to oil down in several areas of the racetrack.
For such a big cleanup, though, I mean, honestly, they did that pretty fast. I wonder how many bags of oil dry they used.
Yeah, and who's going to get the bill?
Right.
And I guess there was one of the cement barriers was affected. They had to repair that too. So.
Oh, wow.
There's quite a bit of work that was done in a fairly short period of time, and one of the messages we got back from control from Bill was that there's so many cars off track, we don't have enough trucks to pick them all up at once. We got to piecemeal this. We'll pick them up and bring them in, as best we can. But that black flag, all red flag, helped them clear the track and clean it so they could get everybody
really
back out.
burned us at Road Atlanta one time. Jason shut off the car during a red flag. We couldn't get it restarted, so they towed us up to the turn 5 cut through. Turn 5, there's a cut through there to the back straightaway. Well, they had so many cars had problems after the red flag that they took us up to turn 5 and dropped us off there, and then went out and got more cars.
Oh,
so
wow.
there were like 6 cars up there. So we kept, like, where's our car? And we had lost radio comm with him. So at that point, we were just sitting around in the paddock going, well, where in the hell's our car? Jason showed up about 30 minutes later and told us what happened. It's like, oh, man, really?
We had our car run out of fuel on the very last lap. And I think that they missed it because they were sending out to get the corner workers, and our car was still out there, of course.
Hey, guys, hello.
He didn't come in. Kind of funny.
Yeah, unless you're sitting in the car.
Yeah, then
it's
it
not
becomes
so
much
much
less
funny.
Because
your crew's back there popping open beers.
That's right, and you're sitting there sweating to death. Lots of teams try strategies and trying to stretch their fuel and right down to the to the line, and sometimes it works and sometimes it does not.
It doesn't. Yep. It's kind of one of those live by the sword, die by the sword, huh?
I mean, it is, yeah. Nothing what's it? Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember watching a pro race one time, and the lead car ran out of gas on the very last lap coming to take the checker, and second and third passed him, and so he ended up taking third just right as they were coming to the checker.
That happened at Petit Le Mans this year.
Oh, it did.
The two Mazdas moved up into second and third when the second place car ran out of fuel on the last lap. That's big time pro racing.
Right.
So yeah, the Mazdas that are competing in IMSA are run by Yost Racing, and they're based here in Atlanta. Mazda, can't remember who they fired, but they fired the team that was managing them and then hired Yost Racing.
So you're watching Champ Car Live, the race at Road America for the Champ Car Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. Paul Veltzum, Doc Waldrop, Bill Strong, Tiffany Alexander with you, calling the race through the remainder of the day. It's a double 8 this weekend. Checker flag just under 3 hours away. 4:30 local time. Over 60 cars started the race today. And we're watching Cone Crushers trying to fend off Ludicrous Speed. Both turned similar lap times that last time through. About 1 minute and 14 seconds is the gap from P1 to P2. You could almost throw a blanket over them here. You look at Crank Anchors Racing, the top 3 teams have just all turned nearly identical lap times. All 2:57. There's a 2:55 from Cone Crushers that time through.
And JSK turned at 2:52.
Yeah.
Wow.
More in line with what that car is capable of doing. And
well, I mean, if Ludicrous hopes to win this race, they're going to have to turn it up.
Yeah, 24 seconds behind Crank Anchors. This is a good time for JSK to be pushing now as they head into that last stint.
I'm sure they want double trophies. I don't know if they're going to get it or not. I guess we'll have to watch and see.
JSK moving slowly through the carousel. You can see there's a car off, driver's left. The 999 car.
It's the Dirt Guys.
Yep. Kind of gave a wave there of thanks as they went through, let them through.
Good to be polite on the race book.
Rowing up through the gears as he heads up from Canada Corner into turn 13. Now down to 14. Thank you so much, Fred Wolf over here watching us. Mr. Wolf, of course, the track manager of Nelson Ledges, which we enjoyed a little bit earlier this year. We'll be back again next year.
Back.
Yeah, thanks for having us back, Fred. We appreciate you and everything that you folks are doing out there at Nelson Ledges. Of course, that famous road course. We did a 24-hour race there this year. We'll be back next year. And we will see you then, sir.
That one's in Ohio? Close?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why, yes, it is.
I haven't made it to that one yet.
I
made
have
it
never
mid-Ohio a
been
couple
Nelson
times.
Ledges.
But you
Fun
gotta make
racetrack.
that happen, Doc.
Yeah.
I know. What's up with that?
Oh. Life goal, make it to all racetracks at some point in life.
Oh, Lord. You're going to be busy.
Okay,
buddy-
all racetracks in America.
You're still going to be busy.
Yeah.
Now,
I
does
mean,
that
it's good to have
include
goals?
does that include like dirt tracks, or are we just talking road courses?
I'm talking road courses, but I do have this like, I really, my husband laughs every time I say it, but I really want to do like a dirt track car. Like, I don't know if I want to do it more than once, but I really just want to do it. That just seems like stupid fun.
Yeah, I would have to agree with it. My buddy David Alia, he and I have been friends for 30-something years. He was RJR's guy on the Camel GT circuit and on the Winston Cup. So he worked for RJR Reynolds Tobacco Company.
Mhm.
So he's been to I think it's well over 275 tracks, and he still hasn't been to all of them.
Wow.
Now that, of course, counts dirt tracks as well.
Okay. I wonder how many road courses, I guess that would include the Rovals, maybe. Maybe we could put that separately. How many, maybe just dedicated road tracks there were in the U.S. there are. I wonder if anybody knows that.
Well, I don't, geez. There's a lot of them. I mean, of course,
little, big, you know,
more and more have been added in the last couple of years. You got
I know, I love it.
Palmer up in New Hampshire. Coda didn't come along that far back. Barber, AMP, NCM. So you got to get busy. They're going to gain on you.
Yeah. I've been to all those. Oh, I haven't been to Palmer yet.
Palmer looks amazing.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good stuff about that one.
Yeah, the only concern seems to be there is that there's very little runoff. And it's built like in a almost like a quarry setting, except with mountains, and there's rocks all around. There's a couple of great YouTube videos of cars around it. A lot of blind apexes. I mean, a lot of them. But it looks amazing.
I smell a road trip coming.
Well, Utah Motorsports Campus, Miller didn't come along all that long ago.
Yeah.
California alone has probably 6 or 7 road courses.
That's incredible.
You're going to have to get busy, Tiffany.
Okay.
They're building more tracks than you're going to. So your goal is getting further out of reach. Of course, you have the Augusta National of road courses right in your backyard or your front yard. Is the house
the front yard?
Okay, yeah, right in your front yard. If you ever get a chance, race fans, get to Barber. It's just freaking gorgeous. You put a wheel off the track, you feel bad.
And you should.
Yeah, it's like leaving a divot at an Augusta National. It's just not done.
I mean, the garden clubs and the different botanical groups around the area come take a monthly tour of what's blooming. Because there's so many trees and plants, and it's gorgeous. And then there's statues everywhere.
Right.
Mr. Barber has these sculptures and statues, and they're hidden, and some of them are funny, and they're just amazing.
Right. Well, the fact that your local garden club goes to a racetrack is amazing. Right. I mean, how often does that happen?
Well, you know, I tell people who've never seen it before, I'm like, it's like they took the botanical gardens and put a racetrack
in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss the lady in the lake.
I know. I wish they would have kept her.
I wonder how she came out. I wonder how she came out during Hurricane Michael, because wasn't his marina that he put her at in the Panhandle?
I think that one's more towards Gulf Shores, Orange Beach-ish area, which came out okay. I'm pretty sure it's in Alabama, so.
Okay.
Hurricane Michael was a little.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense that he'd put it in Florida. Mr. Barber
making me nervous for a second.
A very staunch supporter of the state of Alabama.
Mr. Barber is awesome. He knows me as the crazy girl who always walks up to him everywhere.
Right.
And I just look at him and I kind of just put my hands together, kind of praying and I'm like, thank you so much for putting this here. Like, it's
right. Amazing. Did you? I mean, does he know that you got married there?
Oh yeah, he knows.
Okay, Mr. Barber knows everything.
Yes.
I was
not much gets past him.
No, and what's cool about it is, you know, as an owner, he's out riding the trams, listening to the fans. He's not sitting in his office going, making some money today.
No, actually, so I probably am at that track average of 12 to 14 times or 12 to 14 weekends a year.
Right.
That's probably my average. And every single time I've been there, a whole weekend has not went by that I did not see him at some point in time, drive through the paddock, you know, walk through the paddock, something. He's around always. He takes a very hands-on approach to everything. I always think it's like Jurassic Park, right? When the guy at the beginning of Jurassic Park says, "I spare no expense," you know.
Right.
Only things keep going right at Barber.
Right, exactly.
Not so much at Jurassic Park.
Right.
They've had some PR nightmares.
That was my first road track I'd ever been to, so I didn't really know, you know. So after I left there and went to my next road track, I was surprised. I guess I just thought all of them were like that.
Right.
Started off spoiled.
Yeah, it's only gone downhill for you.
Right.
JSK.
You're like, wow.
JSK is about to make a position change here, guys. They're chasing down Crank Yankers. I think they're going to break Tyler's heart if they make a pass. JSK turned into 252. Crank Yankers a 258.
Oh, that's him just in front.
I think it is too. I'd recognize that purple glitter gold flakes thing
glitter
everywhere. Bomb. Yeah, I'd recognize that car anywhere.
Rodney Irwin said he got on the plane flight back from Pitt or something. He said he was covered in glitter still.
That makes for interesting conversations with the wife.
Yes, yeah.
It's funny.
No, seriously, honey, I was in a race car.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Here comes JSK looking for the pass. Presents himself well. Get a little bit of a draft, trying to get a bit of a toe there. Probably didn't really need it. A clean pass on the front straightaway. Crank Yankers now in 4th spot. A 256 to another 252 out of JSK. Ludacris, a 254 that last time through. 43 seconds in the rears is JSK. They've got 2 hours and 45 minutes, roughly 2 hours and 40 minutes, excuse me, to make something happen if they want P2.
I have the gap at 115.
From Ludacris to Cone Crushers.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm looking from JSK to Ludacris.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at the mover here because, Doc, I'm seeing them turning several seconds a lap faster than Ludacris.
When I eavesdrop, I need to pay attention.
2 minutes to P1. I mean, and we've still got several hours to go. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that Ludacris is having to make extra pit stops. So.
Well, they only have to make one, so they've got to make, and Cone Crushers has to make up one. What Ludacris has to make up is that minute and 15-second gap.
Well, the thing we've been seeing, Doc, is that Ludacris is making extra pit stops, like, more frequently. Am I right?
But I think they only have to stop, I think, one more time, unless they are having problems. They last came in at 120, so.
Well, they definitely have to stop once to make the stint obligation of 2 hours. But I'm not sure they can make it on fuel with just one more stop.
Well, they did yesterday, though, with no problem. Of course, today's a different day.
Yeah, your
I had them
going to be quite different today than yesterday.
I had them. They first pitted Ludacris at 10:20, so that's an hour and 50 minutes. Now, something may have changed because they next came in at 11:49. So say 11:50, that's an hour and 30 minutes. So I don't know, maybe something changed and they're going through more fuel than they did. But their first stint, now, of course, they would have packed that car full of fuel on Saturday night, but they went an hour and 50 minutes.
But it was wet out, so they weren't really...
No, that was this morning.
Oh, I thought you said yesterday. Okay.
Well,
but it wasn't a true hour 20. 15 minutes of it was down for a red flag.
Man, that's true.
I guess what I'm beginning to calculate here is that there's a possibility that Crank Yankers could still get third if Ludacris falls having to take an extra pit stop for fuel.
Yeah.
And I could see that playing out here if things continue as I'm predicting. But as you said, this is all going to come down to when Ludacris has to pit and how often they have to pit. If they can make it that last stint without another pit stop, wow,
they'll be fine, probably.
They'll be in great shape.
Well, they went 11:50 to 1:20, so that's an hour and 30 minutes, and that matches their previous stop. So Yeah, if they have to stop, 2 stops will kill their hopes for a win.
Well, right now, Doc, they're running lap times about 10 seconds slower than what the car's able to do per lap.
Right.
So either this is a driver that's conservative or they're in conservation mode.
Right.
So that may be their plan. We're going to make this a one-stop. We're only going to do a one-stop from here, and we're going to stretch this out and stay up front here.
Well, they can't afford to be too conservative or they'll never catch cone crushers.
And
Yeah, that might not
catch
even...
them.
They would have to really lean into it. Yeah, it would be tough. They're going to have to really turn up the wick to catch them and pass them. Right now, they're just sort of matching.
If they're having fuel problems going that longer, that's going to doom their hopes.
JSK turning a 253 that last lap through, still chopping into that lead of Ludacris. So they've knocked 8 seconds off since we sort of began talking about that subject. They are on the charge.
They are definitely on the charge, yeah.
Show Premium dudes in the pits again.
Well, it's
British American Racing.